After the call on Yahoo Finance starts right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Brad Smith here with Wall Street's own LL Cool J, the woman with mission and vision. We've got Julie Hyman here with us. And Julie, we just got off of the Nvidia earnings call, and the stock is on the run on this earnings results. Jules, we got to give you your flowers right off the bat here because you got to take your victory lap. Not only did you predict that AI would be a big topic of conversation, but it dominated the call. So take your victory lap here.
Okay. I'm taking the victory lap here. I'm taking the victory lap here. So the reason the stock is up so much out of the gate is because the revenue forecast was above estimates, right? But as one of the analysts said on the call, sort of phrased differently, but Nvidia just has this way of like hitting the zeitgeist, right? And the zeitgeist right now, as we know, is all about AI and it's all about ChatGPT. And so I told you, of course, going into this, that's what I was going to be listening for. And like, I didn't have to listen hard because they talked a lot about AI, artificial intelligence on the call, and how not only their chips, but their whole suite of products, sort of software as a service and chips, all of that powering a lot of AI activity. They talked a lot about enterprise AI. And so, yeah, it was there. It's to be fair, it's not like it was a very hard guess, but I'll take the credit. I'll still take the credit.
An AIOG, as you called them, going into this call. And as our viewers are taking a look at some of the key takeaways from this roughly hour that we heard from the CEO, Jensen Huang, as well as Colette, the CFO, I think one of the huge things, no doubt, was just DGX and DGX Cloud as a platform. And this is essentially, and I'm writing down all of these acronyms as we were going along. You had to write down about the CSPs, the LLMs, the GPUs. And so at the end of the day, all that our viewers need to know is that you are essentially going to see NVIDIA partner or sell to some of the CSP, these cloud service providers, to offer AI as a service on that platform. And DGX in the cloud is for proprietary models. So them basically saying no AI in itself as an application was key here because they essentially are taking to the market and to their core customers here a platform that they can build different generative AI models on top of here. And so the street, no doubt, liking a lot of that mentions, plus what had already kind of emerged within the earnings themselves here. Not diving too much into those numbers, but diving into some of the numbers that I'm watching here in the after hours performance here. Just to pull up a chart, NVIDIA has been hovering around this 8% higher move that we had seen and after hours and extended hours activity here. And they've been holding on to that here. And of course, on the day they were higher, but just fractionally. But here's what I also want to take a look at. It's some of the companies that they mentioned, because they also mentioned some of those partners, one of them being Oracle. So I'm just going to navigate over to our software heat map here. Oracle, Microsoft, Google, they were all mentioned. Microsoft fractionally higher post-market or in the extended hours here. You're seeing that up by about 0.2%. And then after hours trading, you're seeing Oracle also up by about 0.5%. I'm just going to refresh this very briefly here because earlier we saw Oracle actually higher by about 1.3% during this call. So that was particularly interesting to track. But here is even more on the DGX Cloud from Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA. Here's the clip.
Today, we're announcing the NVIDIA DGX Cloud, the fastest and easiest way to have your own DGX AI supercomputer. Just open your browser. NVIDIA DGX Cloud is already available through Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and Microsoft Azure, Google GCP, and others on the way.
Okay, so there you heard from NVIDIA CEO Julie. I mean, you heard it. We heard it clear as day. This is what they're prioritizing, and that total addressable market is what a lot of the analysts are hoping is going to be pulled forward, and that demand really accelerate off of this new offering.
Yeah, definitely. And what this all presents to is a really good reminder that everybody's all excited about ChatGPT, about generative AI, about all these opportunities, but it's not as though OpenAI just like makes the thing and it's the only piece that is necessary. What AI needs is to be trained, right? It's a generative model because it learns things. How does it learn things? Well, it's powered by a chip. It's powered by, actually, among other things, when you're talking about this type of AI, what Nvidia calls the omniverse. And when I say that they're good at tapping into the zeitgeist, they were all about the metaverse last year around this time, right? And about what it calls their omniverse, which is effectively simulated worlds that help AI learn how to build things, smart grids for cities where they have a virtual map of a city in the metaverse or the omniverse where it's learning things through AI. So there are multiple layers of this, multiple players of this. When we talk about like who's going to win in AI, there are a lot of different players that contribute different parts to this. So I think that that is important to remember. The other thing more broadly for the chip industry to remember is that we've been in an inventory correction, and we heard the CFO, Colette Kress, comment on that as well.
The year-on-year decline reflects the impact of channel inventory correction, which is largely behind us. And demand in the seasonally strong fourth quarter was solid in most regions. While China was somewhat impacted by disruption related to COVID, we are encouraged by the early signs of recovery in that market.
So should make it sound as though there's a bottoming process going on here for that inventory situation, which markets have been waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely. One huge thing, especially as we think about what the overall vibe was. And, you know, as I think about the vibe from this call, there's one thing that really sticks out. And Jensen kind of laid it out here, talking about, no question, this is a very big moment for the computer industry. Talking about the revolution that the PCs brought to the computer industry, the revolution that the internet brought to the computer industry, and the opportunities for monetization that opened up, and the mobile cloud revolution. Within all of that, the reality is here, and this is somewhat to your point as well, Julie, reality is there will be pretenders and there will be contenders. But what we're seeing, I think, through this announcement is that you've got a consortium of some of those contenders that are starting to emerge and band together, where they can create platforms that all of their end customers will be able to layer or build on top of. And that's when you hear kind of the consortium of an Nvidia, a Microsoft, Oracle, all of these different companies, of Google, that they're going to be able to sell into. So I gave this call a good call grade for a vibe check here, because I think Jensen did a very good job of selling the investor community on that, at least right now, and we're going to wait for some more details to emerge on it.
Yeah, Jensen is always sounding very cool and collected on the call, and definitely not shying away from touting the company's abilities and this, you know, making it sound big that we are at this pivotal point. One thing I will mention, though, very quickly, is that there was not the talk of the economy that we have heard on other tech calls, right? And investors are certainly paying attention to that. So just one thing to continue to watch, right? Even as the vibe check was definitely good, you have to keep in mind that a lot of these big tech firms, that is Nvidia's clients, are not necessarily spending like they were. Maybe they're still spending on AI and all this stuff, but just something to keep in the back of your mind.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's bring in Yahoo Finance's own tech designated hitter, the DH himself, Dan Howley. Dan, we got to get your take, your keys from this call for Nvidia. After hours, they're still holding on to that game, but what did you zero in on?
Yeah, I mean, it's right behind me. Data good, gaming bad, right? The data side of things was great. Not amazing, but you know, the forward-looking story is great. But gaming was bad. I just want to hit you with some of the gaming numbers here. And Nvidia, ostensibly a gaming-based company, their revenue came in at $1.83 billion for their games business. Beat expectations of $1.6 billion, sure, but down 46% year over year. Now, that's better, I guess, than the 51% they were down year over year in the last quarter. One of the things that I think is worth talking about, though, is, you know, this is all the residual kind of buildup that we saw during the pandemic, right? So people went out, bought tons of games, bought tons of computers. They don't need them anymore. Or they don't need to buy new ones right away. And so what's happening is we're seeing people leveling off. And I just want to, you know, just to give you a little bit of history, if you look back at Q4 2019, you're going to get 1.5 billion in revenue for the gaming side of things. So 1.83, 1.5 billion from 2019, not too bad. And then in 2018, they only had 954 million in Q4 gaming revenue. So look, the gaming business is going to continue to be a pillar of this company. It's what helped them get to where they are now. It's where they got the money to go into AI, obviously. But I think for now, it's going to take obviously a back seat for quite some time if they continue to go forward with this big AI push, or maybe it'll just be like the metaverse.
Mm.
All right, Dan, appreciate it.